Yo, stop scrolling right now because what I'm about to tell you is going to blow your mind. Something has been happening behind closed doors with Stefon Diggs that nobody saw coming. And I'm talking about something that could completely flip the script on the biggest celebrity breakup of 2026. Because while Cardi B has been out here thriving and unbothered, sources are saying Stefon has been going through a transformation that's about to go public. And when I tell you what's allegedly about to happen, you're going to understand why the entire internet is holding its breath right now. But before I reveal what sources are saying, you need to see the journey that led to this moment. Because what's coming didn't happen overnight. It happened through weeks of pain, isolation, and allegedly hitting rock bottom so hard that something finally broke. So don't go anywhere because this is building to something massive. All right, so let's rewind to where this all started falling apart. February 8th, 2026, Super Bowl Sunday, Levi's Stadium. This was supposed to be Stefon Diggs' moment. Patriots versus Seahawks, the biggest game of his career with Cardi B supporting him all season. But something was already broken before kickoff even happened. A reporter asks Cardi for a message to Stefon before the game, and this woman who'd been his loudest cheerleader all season just looks dead at the camera and says, "Good luck," with absolutely zero emotion and walks away. No warmth, no smile, just two cold words that told everyone something had already shattered behind the scenes. Then the game becomes a complete disaster. Patriots lose 29-13. Stefon invisible on the field, 0 touchdowns, worst performance of his career. But the real chaos is off the field. Baby mama Kiki posting from the game with their son in Stefon's jersey. Her baby born in September, Cardi's baby born in November, 2 months apart. So Cardi's watching her man fail on national TV while his other baby mama live posts from the same stadium. Then Pri, another woman allegedly connected to Stefon, reportedly at the Super Bowl with Patriots credentials. Then unverified reports drop claiming Stefon allegedly snuck someone into his hotel room hours after the loss. Cardi leaves at halftime. She'd spent $1.2 million on an after party that never happened because she already knew. Next morning, they've unfollowed each other. Entertainment Tonight confirms the breakup. Cardi posts, "Done." Days later at her LA tour stop, she makes it official on stage. "Just because I ain't fucking with my baby daddy doesn't mean you get to talk about my baby daddy." Confirmed the split, defended him as her son's father, kept performing. Clean, direct, powerful. Now here's where everything shifts. While Cardi was thriving on her Little Miss Drama tour, performing for sold-out crowds, posting about self-love, something was happening with Stefon that nobody was seeing. Publicly, he was dealing with complete disaster. NFL career in question. Legal issues with that strangulation charge. Public image destroyed. Being the internet's punchline. Offset posting, "I won," and being right. 50 Cent trolling him daily. Everyone watching him collapse. But sources close to Stefon say something deeper was happening privately. Something beyond public humiliation. People around him describe what one source called a complete reckoning. Not performative social media stuff. Not the Rolling Stone post acting unbothered. Real, private, painful reflection. Sources say the first week after the Super Bowl, Stefon was still in denial, telling himself Cardi overreacted, that it wasn't as bad as people said, that she'd cool down and reach out. But day after day passed with complete silence from Cardi. And as he watched her on stage night after night looking happier and freer than she'd been in months, something started breaking through that denial. According to sources, Stefon started really examining his choices. The multiple women at the Super Bowl, the overlapping baby situations. Promising Cardi he'd be different from Offset, and then proving he was exactly the same. Looking at his newborn son, thinking about what example he's setting. The $1.2 million party Cardi lost because of him. All of it. But here's the moment sources say really shattered Stefon. Not losing the Super Bowl, not the public humiliation, not even the breakup itself. It was watching Cardi perform and getting emotional on stage. Watching her tell thousands of fans, "Don't let nobody take your happiness away from you," and knowing she was talking about what he did to her. Watching her vulnerable and hurting, but still standing, still performing, still choosing herself. Sources say that's when it hit him, that she was going to be absolutely fine without him. Better than fine. She was going to flourish. And that realization, that she genuinely didn't need him and genuinely moved on, reportedly broke through all his defenses. Because he'd convinced himself she'd miss their family and come back. But weeks of absolute silence made it undeniable. She was done. People close to Stefon say this is when he started having real conversations about accountability. Not about getting her back, about owning what he actually did, about the gap between the man he promised to be and who he actually was. And according to sources, something shifted. Not overnight, but gradually over weeks of sitting with consequences and silence and loss. Sources say Stefon started asking different questions. How do I make this right? Not how do I get her back, but how do I take accountability? He was told by people around him those are two different things. That accountability isn't about getting the outcome you want. It's about owning what you did, regardless of whether it changes anything. And this is where things get really interesting. According to multiple sources and reports circulating online, Stefan has allegedly been working towards something major, something people in his circle describe as wanting to make a public acknowledgement. Not a PR statement written by lawyers, not calculated image repair, but something sources say comes from genuine remorse. Here's what multiple sources are saying. Stefan has allegedly told people close to him that he regrets everything. That's the exact phrase, regrets everything. Not just the Superbowl night, not just the cheating allegations, the entire pattern. How he handled Cardi's heart, the promises he broke, the disrespect, the humiliation, all of it. And according to these sources, Stefan has allegedly expressed that he needs to say this publicly, not because he thinks it'll change Cardi's mind. Sources say he knows that door is closed, but because he can't live with Cardi, their son, and the world, thinking he has zero remorse, that he's the kind of man who could do what he did and feel nothing. Sources describe what's allegedly coming as Stefan taking full ownership, acknowledging the Super Bowl situation, the overlapping baby situations, how he promised to heal Cardi and broke her instead, that he said he was different from Offset and proved he had the same disrespect. Reports say he's allegedly planning to address all of it without excuses or deflection. Now let me be clear, there's no official confirmed statement yet, no press release, no verified video, but multiple sources across different outlets and social media are all saying the same thing. Something is coming, an acknowledgement, what people are calling an apology, allegedly happening soon. What makes people believe these reports is how consistent the information is. People who don't typically talk to each other are saying similar things. That Stefan's been working up to this for weeks. That he's had deep conversations about what accountability means. That he's allegedly said, "I regret everything," multiple times privately. And that he's reportedly decided he needs to say it publicly. The internet is wild. Some say even if true, it's too little too late. Others say they'll believe it when they see it. Some think it's genuine. Others are convinced it's PR, but nobody can agree on whether an apology even matters for Cardi at this point. Because here's the thing, Cardi has been thriving. Little Miss Drama Tour killing it, standing ovations, posting about self-love and boundaries, showing up for her 4 kids, glowing. She doesn't look like someone waiting for an apology. She looks like someone who gave herself closure and moved on completely. So if Stefan allegedly makes this public acknowledgement, if he says, "I regret everything" to the world, what does it accomplish? For Cardi, probably nothing. She made her peace weeks ago, chose herself at that Super Bowl, and never looked back. An apology doesn't change her healing or tour or success or peace. But for Stefan, sources say it's about looking at himself in the mirror, about telling his son one day that when he messed up, he owned it, that he didn't slink away in silence, about trying to break a pattern instead of repeating it, about taking the first real step toward becoming the man he promised Cardi he was. Whether it's genuine or calculated, whether it matters or doesn't, whether Cardi acknowledges it or ignores it completely, sources say this alleged acknowledgement is coming. And when it drops, everyone has to decide, is this real accountability or damage control? Is this growth or performance? Does it matter that he's saying it now, or is it too late? What we know, Cardi B is thriving. Stefon Diggs is allegedly processing and preparing to take accountability. The internet is watching every move. And if sources are right, we're about to see a moment that either validates Stefan's growth or proves everyone right who said he's just salvaging his image. Because at the end of the day, this entire situation reveals something powerful about healing and accountability that people don't always understand. Cardi didn't wait for Stefan to apologize before she moved on. She didn't wait for him to validate her decision. She didn't wait for him to acknowledge what he did before she found her peace. She did that work herself. And that's the lesson that's bigger than any apology could ever be. Think about how different this is from the Offset era. With Offset, there were years of public back and forth. Instagram live sessions where Cardi cried and explained and defended herself. Posts going up and coming down. The whole world watching every phase of that relationship fall apart and come back together multiple times. Cardi waiting for Offset to change, waiting for him to be different, waiting for the apology that would fix everything. And it never came. Not in a way that actually changed the pattern. But with Stefan, one Super Bowl night, one clear violation of her boundaries, one moment of seeing exactly who he was, and she was out. No second chances, no waiting to see if he'd change, no hoping the apology would make it better, just immediate, decisive action based on what she saw and what she knew she deserved. That's 7 years of lessons from Offset applied in real time. That's growth you can actually see. Either way, Cardi remains unbothered. That's the real story. The The woman who chose herself, walked away with her head high, and refused to wait for a man's apology to find her peace. Whether Stefon's alleged remorse is real or not doesn't change the fact that Cardi already won by choosing herself. Anyway, this concludes today's video. Be sure to subscribe to LoafTube for future celebrity videos, and turn on that post notification bell so you don't miss out on any future uploads. Until then, see you in the next one.